This is my video reflection of my CER project, and to answer the first question of describe my planning process, well, I first started by watching the videos and looking through all of the options of the literature lessons that were online, and then taking a look at the CER manuals and figuring out which one I could use specifically with the population that I work with at school. And I chose the question exploration guide, or the question exploration routine, to best fit the needs of my students, and looking at just breaking down a piece of literature that they haven't read before and looking at the main point or the main idea of what we are reading. And so when I was picking which lesson I wanted to work with, I tried to find one that would be interesting and that could actually tie into other curriculum that the students have been working with, in order to kind of pull in some interest, and maybe they would already have some prior background information from their history classes. When I was thinking about planning the CER specifically, I referenced the Smarter Planning that we looked at in our online module of shaping the critical question, mapping the content, analyzing any difficulties, reaching enhancement decisions, teach strategically, evaluating mastery, what would be the best method, and review student outcomes and make adjustments. And one thing I really liked about this question exploration guide is in the actual manual, I like that they offered to make different copies of the layout of the question exploration guide. I like how they expanded it to 2 pages here if maybe some students need more room for writing, or even to break it down for students to say, hey, let's get the first half done and then we'll do the second half tomorrow. I like the options that they presented in this manual. I also think that these steps are really clear, and it takes it from big picture, brings down all the key components, and then wraps it back up to that main idea or main question. So I really liked the breakdown in this CER manual. As far as implementation fidelity, I feel like I really stuck close to the manual, because teaching a different curriculum, or in using a curriculum that I don't typically use, and teaching a subject I don't typically teach, I stuck to the manual to keep me guided and focused, and I read through the manual and I tried to use some of the verbiage and whatnot that they suggested through the linking steps in order to keep students on track and completing the manual, or completing the question exploration guide how it should be completed. So I did stick pretty much to it, and I was able to find a way to expand it into the next day. And I really feel like the way that I'm having students take what they learned from Elie Wiesel's speech and using it in real life is pretty good and pretty accurate for what we learned from the speech, and how we can take it into the modern day and students can use it themselves. And then describing any adjustments I would make to meet the needs of learners. Again, I would just look at the different ways of printing the question exploration guide from the routine manual book. And then what I think too is like highlighting each part of the linking steps would be helpful too, for students to really see what we were looking at, and providing a hard copy of the speech to students. Not only reading it aloud together and analyzing it together, but then allowing students to reread, go back and highlight through the important things there, or even the terms that we talked about, or highlighting the answers to the supporting questions. That would also allow students to really take the question exploration guide and apply it directly to the speech. Some examples of how also you could use this question exploration guide that I think is really helpful is talking about how you can use it co-curricular in science, world history, other things like that. But I do really enjoy these manuals, and I think they are useful and very useful for first year teachers or teachers who are switching subjects. I think that that's really helpful too. All in all, I did enjoy the project, and I definitely think it was helpful.